Now a question about the Fontan Registry from Australia and New Zealand. That's a lot of questions. Can you share with us the importance of Fontan Registry and what a unique resource this is? When I started this Fontan Registry, I never thought that it would take so much importance. The Fontan Registry is important because it's the largest database in the world of people with a single ventricle living with a Fontan circulation, and it's the only population database. So we have all the Fontan patients. So what means that's truth. So it's not one center. We don't have some patients of one center or some centers. We have everybody. So that's a clear picture of what reality is. And we have the longest and largest follow-up. So the first thing that we did is we clarified the expectations. So we clarified the expectation. We said, hey, the results are much better. So that is a paradigm shift. If the results are better, in the cases where you can do a difficult operations with 2 ventricles, but it may not work, or you can do a Fontan, then if the outcomes of the Fontan are so much better, then you do more Fontan than you do difficult biventricular repairs. And I think that that's the very important things that we've brought is that by showing that the results were better than expected, the people were caught up. Now we're showing that, we have a survival of 85%, 30 years after Fontan, so to 30, 40, 35, 40 years of age. Well, they're there. So we're showing that they're going to double. The number we have is going to double within 20, 25 years. So we have probably around 60,000 people around the world, 40% of them likely over 18, and they're here. They work, they study, they do their job. We cannot turn our back to them. So we have to do something. So I think that the medical community has not done a very good job in the last 45 years. There's a lot of things we could have done before to not be in a situation, to know better about how this circulation works, whether ACE inhibitor works, what is the better anticoagulation for these patients. And now the people have been caught up. They're not desperate. If the people were pessimistic, they said, oh, they don't want to think about it. But now, if we prove that the situation is much better, then hey, we know that there are troubles and we have to solve them. So we have to work. I think that we have done is that we've given an impetus to the research in that field. The unique resource is that every time we ask ourselves questions, the question that can be answered to that, but there's some questions that very, very quickly we have answered to. How can the Fontan community best support the registry to continue its amazing work? Well, it's a fantastic tool. Every meeting in the world, every paper scored the work that is done in Fontan Registry in Australia and New Zealand, and that's one of the amazing things is that Australia is quoted for best research in that field every time. And we can be very proud of it. But it's a fragile undertaking. So in less than 1.5 years from now, our funding will be dried out. We got most of our funding from the NHMRC, and there's so much that the NHMRC is giving, so they lose interest after a while. So it was okay for a while, but it's a difficult field and it's difficult to fund registry. So my motto right now is that you should not ask what the Fontan can do for you. You should ask yourself what you can do for your Fontan. It's your registry. I've created it, I've initiated it, but I haven't. It's not my registry. It's the registry of everybody in Australia, and it's the registry of the patient. So if it died out, you're going to have to support it one way or another. And I'm not sure that. Most of my research work is trying to get money to keep this research going, but that may need your help at some stage. And I don't know how, but you have to step in and take it as yours and help it. What are you most excited about in terms of current research that the Fontan Registry is undertaking. I think that there's a few things we're going to be able to clarify. I'm a bit excited because I think that we're going to be able to sort out medications. We're going to be able to show whether ACE inhibitor is useful for kidney disease, whether ACE inhibitor is useful, generally speaking, for the people. We're going to be able to help out a lot in defining whether pulmonary vasodilators, drugs that dilate your lung arteries, are useful on the long term. And then there's a lot of different research that are being done. One of the things that is close to my heart is instituting exercise training in this population. And we've tried twice already to get funding. We may get some funding to study that phenomenon, and we will try to get funding until we do it, because we need to do it. It has to be done. We will do it. Exercise seems fundamental for people with a frontline circulation. We have to achieve that. There's the big things. These are the big pictures, and then there's small things. At the end of the day, I do research because I love to answer questions. I love to go into unknown territories and be the first one to have the answers to a problem that nobody has solved before. One of the things that I'm doing now, for example, is I'm trying to find out whether rhythm problems may be very important in patients, and more precisely, if there are a group of patients who die suddenly because of rhythm problems. And we've just finished a study that seemed to show that I have identified a group of patients who may be at risk of coronary problems. So they don't have enough oxygen going into the heart muscles, and they may die suddenly, like people have heart attacks with coronary artery disease. And that's exciting because there may be a solution for that. We may need to put defibrillators in some group of patients. And it's not a lot of patients, but it's completely new, and I have been the first one to put the finger on that. So that's exciting. And so we're going to expand it to other people, and we may have the support of industry to examine that. We're going to likely try to have some monitors to record the heart rhythm of Fontan patients for 3 years, and we can. It's a magnificent, tiny machine. It's like James Bond movies. Like you put something on the skin that you don't see, and you can talk to it at a distance from a mobile phone. So I think we're going to have enormous data from that, and that may change the way we treat some patients. Maybe not the 60,000, but maybe 500,000, 1,500 patients who would be at risk of dying that we may rescue. And then we're going to do some work on understanding how the Fontan works, and I think that we're going to look at this venous pressure on the Fontan. We're going to change the way we investigate Fontan, and so that's what I'm excited with. What are you most proud of with regards to the achievements of the Fontan Registry to date? Research is sometimes a work of ego, and when it's nice to put the words largest, longest, and that's what the Fontan has achieved. I'm very proud on the fact that it is quoted to be the largest or the most effective collaborative work in Australia and New Zealand. And because of the Fontan Registry, that's the first work where really all the adult centers taking care of congenital heart disease in the country, and the pediatric centers, all of them are working around the same group of patients. And because that work, all the other patients benefit from that. So putting everybody around the same table is an exhausting but a remarkable achievement. I'm very proud of the fact that that gives us international aura, and that gives me possibility to build up international collaboration, because we have become so important on the block. I can talk to the most important people in the world in the world of Fontan. And so finally, we can gather not only all the people in Australia, but the people around the world to work together, and that's what is needed. But what I'm the most proud of in the regards of the achievements of the Fontan Registry is you. The fact that we have been able to work and build up a community of patients, people who have been up to the Fontan Registry isolated and believing they were alone on earth with the Fontan circulation, and being able to talk to each other and build up a community and chatting together and build up confidence and asking questions and being, you know, a powerful group of people. I think that's amazing, and for me, that puts a model of how the research should be done and how even the clinical case should be done. I think that's the amazing involvement we have of all of you in the Education Day. I think that's what the most unexpected accomplishment that has arisen from the Fontan Registry research. Fontan Community, here we get it. How important do you believe the voice of the community is? Essential. Cystic fibrosis has improved to the stage it has just because of the parents' voice. You have to get together and being a powerful group that lobbies for the well-being of your kids and yourself. Absolutely essential. How beneficial have medical professionals found the Fontan Education Day in regards to hearing from the community directly? Personally, myself a lot, and others as well. And, you know, doctors, you know, lots of them are very clever, don't listen to other people a lot, and, you know, so you have a variety of feedback from medical professionals. But usually the people have been touched and have found that an amazing experience. And so we're going to develop the same model internationally. So we have the first international Fontan meeting in February in Arizona, and that will be advertised. On the same model, we're trying to having all the participants of participating. I thought the amazing things I thought was you know, at the first meeting in the Education Day, we had, I remember Dominica talking about pregnancy and having all the medical data, and that was very interesting. And then Louise talking about her own experience. And then you get the patient perspective and the medical statistics. And then when if you take one in isolation, you get quite a bit of information. But if you put both together, it's amazing how clear becomes the issue. You had Bryn talking about exercise, then you had Brian talking about his life experience, and again you put them together, and the picture is clear. I think that Education Day is amazing. The future. Do you think we are more likely to have a breakthrough in mechanical heart assist device or grafted printed cardiac stem cell tissue for future repair? Well, I've been a guy doing mechanical heart assist device. I've built up the VAD program, so the artificial heart programs in the Children's Hospital. I have been trained in a hospital in Belgium, which was one of the European training centers for artificial hearts. I've been the first guy putting for the first time artificial hearts in the UK at the time when I was in training there. You don't ask me that question. Of course, I do believe that artificial hearts will work better than grafted or whatever, you know, xenograft or anything that build up with stem cell. It may work, but somehow I do believe that for companies, you know what it's like. You know, if they can build up something that works, that they can put in a box and send you by mail and get it to you, especially with internet orders, that's going to work better than if you have to have special farms and a lab cultivating your stuff where you have to go and get your own tissue. If you can send it by post, I can tell you, it's going to work better for the industry, and you need the industry to have this undertaking. But you never know. What is your thoughts, opinion on Rodefeld's Fontan blood pump? I'm very glad that Mark is working in this field. He's been working in this field and he's been the most advanced to have a proposal. And I think it should be encouraged. And I hope it's going to work. It's a good idea. The thing, that's the positive side. The negative side is what you have to know if you look at the field of artificial hearts, is that most of the artificial hearts that are today on the market have been built up by 2 or 3 large companies who have had experience for more than 20 years in artificial hearts. It's very difficult to start up and build up a new device that is working from scratch. So he's facing ahead large difficulties, and it's not progressing. It's not progressing quickly. I hope it's going to work. It has gained some momentum, and interestingly, it has now gained momentum because a group of families and patients have lobbied to get enough money to push that project. That would have been on a block if the patients and family would not have intervened in the US rather. And actually, they've made some crowdfunding, and they had good support from Australia too. Thank you for it. Is it something we should? But the thing is not the only one to work on the field, and so I can't speak too much about it. But there may be other developments. It's not the only one to work on a pump for Fontan. Is it something we should be excited about for the future of Fontan patients? There's no doubt in my mind that that will be part of the solutions. I've been believing in that for the last 20 years or so, and I'm still believing in that. Looking ahead, what do you think would ideally be a post-Fontan care plan that is consistent across Australia and New Zealand? I think I've alluded to that as a personal level, but it's not shared by everybody in Australia and New Zealand. You need to have some form of imaging of the Fontan circulation in the first year after the Fontan. You need to be seen regularly by cardiologists. You need to have some form of exercise study. You need exercise training program, psychological support incorporated in the care. And I've talked about MRI, Holter, exercise study at the time of the transition and later on in adult life.